Namo Buddhaya. When we are living our life, sometimes we become rejected by people. Rejection is a common experience that we all have faced in all of our lives. But sometimes people, when they face rejection, when they have been criticized, when they do not fit into the places in their life, they become so stressed and depressed and frustrated. Remember, rejection is one of the best motivations in this world. Okay? It depends on how you use it. You can use the rejection to build up yourself, as well as you can use the rejection to make yourself even more worse. So it depends on how you use it. Successful people used the rejection to build up themselves. Successful people become more and more motivated when they are being rejected. Now, when we face these types of experiences, maybe rejection, maybe criticism, maybe bullying, maybe anxiety, depression, work stress, whatever the experience is, whatever the hard experience is, when we face these problems, we think this stimulation, this experience is going to last forever. But in reality, it is not. Right? So, rejection is a common experience. Even Supreme Buddha was rejected by the people. Now, before he became the Buddha, there was a time he was struggling and he was practicing the self-mortification so hard. He was giving so many sufferings to this body to try to find the way of liberation from sufferings. So at that time there was rituals like that. Even for today, the people practice this self-mortification. So when they are practicing that, they should give up and they should decrease eating. They should give up sleeping. They have to undergo very hard rituals of meditation, maybe practices. So when he was doing it, there were 5 ascetics around him who was helping him. And finally, after 6 years of hard trying and self-mortification, our Bodhisattva decided that no one can find the ultimate liberation through this method, through self-mortification. So he decided to take some food to maintain his physical energy. So in that moment, those 5 monks around him saw this, that he is taking foods, and they thought that he has given up the way. Now he is not going to be enlightened. So at that time, those 5 monks did not believe on our Bodhisattva. So what they did was, they rejected him. They left him in the jungle and they went off. Our Bodhisattva was alone. But did he give up? No. So it was a blessing to his life. He could practice his meditations alone. So he gathered up some energy to his body by having some food, and he started meditating. He started developing himself. He did not care about the rejections. He did not care about the people who left him. And on a beautiful Vesak Poya day, he became the Buddha. He was enlightened. Do you know what he did after being enlightened? He went to see those 5 monks. And he was so grateful for those 5 monks. And he preached Dhamma to them. The Dhamma that was realized by the Buddha. And he became so grateful, and he showed his gratitude to them. So, it doesn't matter that people rejected you. What you have to do is, you have to constantly develop yourself, focus on yourself, right? Do the best thing that today you can do. And also, in the same time, you have to be kind to them. Because the reason that they rejected you is they did not know your full story. They did not understand your strengths. So you don't want to be unkind to them. Still you can be kind to them. Right? That is how you should be a good human. Right? So use the rejection as a motivation to build up yourself. Don't be sad. Remember, life is like an ocean. When the voyagers are going on the ocean, the sailors face so many storms and turbulence and tornadoes. When the sea journey is getting more hard and tough, the voyage becomes more interesting and beautiful, right? People talk about more tough and rough sea journeys, but they don't talk about peaceful and calm sea journeys, right? So remember, your life becomes more interesting and more beautiful when you face the difficult situations, tough times, criticisms, bullies, and rejections in your life. So when you use those bitter experiences as a motivation to your life, you will be a successful person in the world. So use the rejection as the motivation. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. One day, a young lady called Kisa Gotami came running to the Buddha, carrying the dead body of her only child. Her child has passed away, and she refused to admit that her child has been dead. All she thought was that the child is not talking and smiling and giggling is because of a disease. He had fallen ill. So she went around the city calling for a doctor to cure the disease of this innocent child. But as there is no doctor who can bring a dead to the life, finally, a wise man said to her, "Oh, young lady, I know about a doctor who can cure the disease of your child. He resides in that monastery. His name is Gautama the Buddha. Go and meet him, and he will give you a solution for this problem." Then Kisa Gotami came running to the Buddha, and here she lies in front of the Buddha, sobbing and begging to the Buddha to bring the baby back to life. Then our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, out of compassion, he looked into Kisa Gotami and said, "Gotami, I can cure the disease of your child. But before that, to make a medicine for him, I need a handful of mustard seed. Can you bring that?" Kisa Gotami's face was lit up with happiness, and she said, "Oh, Master Gautama, I will bring a handful of mustard seed from anywhere with no time." Then our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, said, "Gautami, not so fast. First of all, you need to remember, you should bring a handful of mustard seed from a family where no one have ever died. There was an old lady in that house. Then she asked from that old lady, "Oh, madam, can I have a handful of mustard seed from you? I need to cure the disease of this child. I need it as a medicine." Then the old lady said, "Okay, young lady, I will give you a handful of mustard seed." Then the Gautami asked, "By the way, has anyone have ever died in your family?" Then the old lady said, "Oh, young lady, I am sorry to say, 2 days ago my husband died." Then Kisa Gautami said, "Okay, then there is no use of your mustard seed. I need a handful of mustard seed from a family where no one have ever died." Then she went to the next house and to the next house. She went all around the city, finding a handful of mustard seed from a family where no one have died. But finally, she could not find it. In each and every family, someone have been dead. Finally, she realized that she is not alone in this world. She realized that death is a common fate for all the people. All the people have suffered this common phenomena. Then finally she realized that her child is dead and she cannot bring her back to life. Then what she did was, she went to the jungle and she buried her beloved son in the soil, and she came back to the monastery to meet our great teacher, Supreme Buddha. Finally she said, "Oh, Venerable Sir, I knew my child was dead, but I was awakened from that sorrow." Dear devotees and my dear children, when someone dies, when the near and dear one fade away from our life, disappear from our life, it is one of the greatest, hardest experiences that we are going through in all of our lives. Sometimes it may be traumatic to many people. Sometimes they may cry over years and years because of loss of loved ones. So, Supreme Buddha said, this wasn't happen only for you. Remember, one day everyone will die. That is the common fate for all of us. In 100 years of time, all of us are not in this world. We all have to say goodbye to this world. Remember, all the relationships, all the near and dear and loved ones around you will fade away one day from your life. Or you have to fade away from their life. That is the rule of this world. Supreme Buddha said, always remember that you have to be separated from the people who are around you, the people who love you most. Realizing this bitter truth, the common truth for all of us, will give us the motivation and will give us the inspiration to love the people around us more. Because you know that you have a little time. Because you know you have a little time to love people around you, care the people around you, look after the people around you, give your love and kindness to them. You will have a little time for that. So when you realize that, you can love them perfectly. And also, when they fade away from your life, you can see this reality, and of course you will go through some sort of grief in your life because of the because of loss of the loved one, but remember, you will have the strength to overcome that grief by the time. It will not be traumatic to you, because you know this was bound to happen one day. Remember, sun arises from the east, and at the end of the day, it sets from the west. No one can stop that. That is the reality of this world. That is the nature of this world. Sun arises, and at the end of the day, it will set. No one is grieving for that. Same goes with our life. You have to stop grieving. And after a death of loved one, you should do more good things, more merits and wholesome things in order to make that dead person, the beloved person, to be happy. If that person sees you, that you are sobbing because of him, because of the loss of him, he will not be happy. He or she will not be happy. So what you have to do good things after that, right? Do wholesome things, remembering him, and that will make him happy. So what you have to do, you can cry, it is not a problem, but do not let it go for a long time. Recover yourself from that grief and start living your life in a good way, in a wholesome way. In that way, you will have the ability to overcome the grief of your life. Namo Buddhaya, Thiruvang. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to yet another episode in Inner Guide Q&A program. So today, we are going to discuss how to deal with toxic people. So toxic people can be found everywhere in this society, right? Sometimes toxic people can be found in our family, right? Maybe they can be found in our neighborhood. Maybe we can find them as our friends. So in one way or another, we have to deal with these people. And also, we have that intention that we should not get hurt ourselves, and also we should not hurt others, right? So we need to find a way to deal with these people. So today we are going to discuss about that. So first of all, I will tell you a wonderful story that tells us how Buddha dealt with a toxic person, right? So this is a famous and well-known story. One day, a man came to the Buddha and he started yelling and insulting, and he was cursing Buddha, right? So, do you know how Buddha faced that situation? He was smiling. He didn't make any reaction. Throughout that conversation and throughout that situation, he put on a smile, a positive smile on his face, and he was looking at that person who was yelling at him very kindly, right? So he was very kind to that person. Now after some time, that person stopped yelling, right? Everything that he packed inside him was over. He was finished. Then our great teacher Supreme Buddha asked a wonderful question from him, right? Now it is totally different to the situation, right? It does not suit for the situation. Supreme Buddha asked, do you get visitors to your home? Does visitors visit to your home? Then that person was astonished and he was amazed. And he said, yes, I get so many visitors to my home. Then Supreme Buddha kindly asked from that person, do you treat them with foods and drinks? Then that person said, yes, I am treating them. Then Supreme Buddha said, What if they did not accept what you have treated, what you have given? So, for whom those foods and drinks belongs to, if they did not accept those foods and drinks? Then that person laughed in front of the Buddha and he said, so if they did not accept my treat, then it belongs to me. I will eat them. Then our Supreme Buddha, with a great and wonderful, kind smile in his face, he said, same goes with this situation, man. You treated me with rude and harsh words. You treated me with anger. But I am a person who is not accepting anything that you have given to me. I will never accept those rude and harsh words that you treated me. Right? So if I do not accept anything that you have given, then everything that you gave to me belongs to you. Then you should eat it. Right? Then that person was amazed and his anger was cooled down. Then after, Supreme Buddha preached the Dhamma, his teachings to him. After that, he became a follower of our great teacher, Supreme Buddha. Now see how positively and how successfully our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, dealt with that toxic person. Now, if we were in that situation, what would be our reaction? Normally, when people yelling at us, we try to talk to them back. We try to prove them wrong, right? We try to control them with our rude and harsh words. Supreme Buddha said, if you treat with anger to the people who is treating you with anger, if you give the same thing, that means you are sharing their food and eating, right? If you become angry, that means you are sharing their treats. Remember, whenever you are in such situations, whenever you face toxic people, whenever people around you are angry, what you have to do? The first thing that you have to do is put on a positive smile to your face. Never show your sad or angry face to them. If you show that, that means you are providing what they want. Because they are coming to you expecting to hurt you. If you show them that you have been hurt, then you are unsuccessful. You provide them what they wanted. So never show your angry or sad face to them. Put on a smile. Be a positive person. Be a bigger person than him. Because when one person becomes angry, right, he becomes mentally weak. Remember, mentally weak people express their anger easily. The reason why they are expressing their anger is because they don't have a strong mentality. So you need to be the bigger guy, right? To be the bigger guy, you have to be positive, you have to smile, and you have to be motivated with virtues and morals. Okay? Be the best version of yourself. Don't try to talk to them back. That is the first thing. And also, you have to listen to what they tell, what they speak. Right? Set apart and leave behind the person. Don't care about the person. Care about what they say. Right? Sometimes they may be yelling at you because of a mistake that they think that you have done, but in reality, sometimes you haven't done it. So what you have to do? You have to listen to that and understand what they say. Right? Give a big attention to what they say. right? So if they complain you about a mistake or something else, then you have to think, is that mistake prevails in my life? Right? Is that mistake is inside my life? Have I done that mistake really? Right? If you have done some mistake and if that is the reason that they are yelling at you, then you have to correct your mistake. But never show the face of anger or sadness. Okay? Then you have to correct it. If you haven't done any mistake, and still if they are complaining you, then don't try to prove them wrong. Because each and every time you try to prove them wrong, they may be understanding it in a wrong way. Because when our mind gets deluded or when our mind is covered by anger, normally an angry man shuts his eyes and ears and he opens his mouth. Right? He cannot see anything, he cannot listen to anything, he cannot hear anything. So what you have to do? Don't try to prove them wrong. Stay silent. Silence can give many answers to problems. Right? So if you need to prove them wrong with your success. Not with your words. Right? That is how we do it. So you have to set apart the person and listen to what they say. If you have done a mistake, correct it. If you haven't done a mistake, leave it behind. Don't care about that. So the best practice that you can do to generate and to have this skill is to practice the mind of loving kindness. Right? If you love yourself, you will never like to make yourself angry. If you love yourself, then you will have the opportunity to love others. And if you love others, you will never try to hurt those people with rude and angry words. So practice loving kindness, practice compassion, right? Love, compassion, care, these things can provide many answers to the problems that pop up in our life. So you always need to be kind. You always need to be humble. And also remember, being humble is not being weak. You need to be positive. Right? You need to have a good skill to handle these situations. Now this can be done by visualizing to yourself that how I'm going to face such a situation. If you can visualize a situation like that now, and if you can imagine in your mind how I am going to face it, right? If you can see that you are having a good smile on your face, and you are listening to those people, and you are handling that situation very successfully, then that visualization will help you to deal in a real situation like that. So practice that, right? That is how we deal with toxic people. Never provide what they want. When they come to you, they need the anger from you. They need to hurt you. So don't provide that. If you did not provide it, you will handle it successfully. So I wish you all, may all of you have that wonderful skill to deal with the toxic people successfully.